There you go. Got the recording.
James, great to see you, brother, and Riziki.
Good to see you, Mr. Drew. Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for your prayers and all the support. We really appreciate that.
All right, let's start then. My friends, good morning, everyone. The panelists, we're very grateful for this event this morning. My name is Enoch Diassis. I am the Director for Partnership and Projects for ThinSpace Africa. So on behalf of ThinSpace Africa, Bel Air Church, and Rebuilders Ministries, I wanted to welcome all of you to this conversation today. The title that we have been working with James and Riziki for a few weeks and with Bel Air Church and ThinSpace Africa is behind the headlines, and understanding the violence in the DRC. We are so honored to have people from around the world joining us, from Brazil, Sri Lanka, our friend Dr. Gayatri, Africa, and in different parts of the United States as well. The violence in the DRC is happening for too long. And this last probably 2 or 3 decades, millions of lives have been affected. And one of the most challenging things for me is that we hear so little about what is going on in the DRC in the Western media. Just recently, we have the 70 Christians that were killed inside of a local church, the same denomination that James and Riziki work with. And we rarely heard this here in the United States. So today, we're going to be with these people who are in the front line, facing the violence themselves so many times, but also working for peace and reconciliation with Rebuilders Ministries, but also in the different levels in the government in the DRC. Our hope is that our conversation today will get us closer to understand a little bit better what is going on in the DRC, but also that will inspire us to take action to join what the efforts for peace and reconciliation in Congo is going as well. So we are very grateful for Bel Air Church and ThinSpace Africa and Rebuilders Ministries to invite us for this conversation today. Here's what's going to happen today. We're going to hear briefly now from the Reverend Drew Sams from Bel Air Church and the president of ThinSpace Africa. And then I will come back to introduce James Byensi, and he will then introduce the panelists for this conversation today. If you have any question throughout the conversation today, at any point, please ask your question in the chat room. We have somebody monitoring that, and towards the end, the questions will be asked to the panelists today. So thank you very much for coming today, and I hope we will have a time of challenge, inspiration by the ministry of others, and that we will find ways to join the work that they are doing in this amazing country, the DRC. Pastor Drew.
Well, thank you all so much for joining. I am Drew Sams. I'm the senior pastor of Bel Air Church. It's a church in Los Angeles, California. And our church first began a relationship with leaders in the DRC all the way back in 2008. Enoch, who was just speaking, was the missions pastor at Bel Air Church, and first traveled with a group of people whom you'll meet some of them today in 2008. Teams were sent in 2009. A formal partnership began in 2010. We've sent a number of teams, hosted Pastor James and Madam Riziki in Los Angeles. And it's been said before that a great relationship and a great partnership asks 3 questions. Number 1, what can I do for you? Number 2, what can you do for me? And number 3, what can we do together? And I want to share with this group that under James's leadership that they sent $5,000 for the fire relief in Los Angeles. And I just want to share that in the midst of all this devastation, there is this beautiful generosity that flows across the globe from them to those who are impacted in LA. And it's very humbling to be part of the larger body of Christ and in community together. So I'm honored that many are joining today, and very much looking forward to hearing not only from Pastor James and Madam Riziki, many others in the Congo, but also what's happening through ThinSpace Africa and Rebuilders as well. So blessings to all.
Thank you, Drew. I'm Scott Pruitt. I'm the president of ThinSpace Africa, the board president for ThinSpace Africa. And we're a nonprofit, a 501c3 here in Southern California that was started back in 2015. And we work with just a couple partners in Africa, partner organizations in Africa, and Rebuilders Ministry, of which James and Riziki are their directors, is one of the three. I first met James in 2015 when I flew to the Congo by myself. And I was introduced to him and his church and what they were doing there. And for me, the visit was life-changing. As a result, I've got involved with ThinSpace Africa and now sit on the board with the office that I have. We have essentially two missions in ThinSpace Africa. The first mission is to come alongside the partners and help them get where they're going. We don't determine their projects. We don't determine what community development is needed or what their community needs. We firmly believe that African problems are not going to be solved by North American answers. It's going to be solved by Africans. And what we do is come alongside them and help them get where they're going. We like to say we don't drive the bus, but we sit behind the driver with maps and Google and asking, you know, are you going to need gas here? And we want to help them get where they're eventually going on the projects they feel is important. The second thing we do is we act as a liaison between donor organizations and individuals here in the United States and our partners in the Congo. We help them with their budgets. Most of the organizations started with just an act of kindness between a person who is now typically the leader of the NGO and an individual, a school child. It could be bringing a homeless child in or starting a school. And the organizations grow, and we come alongside and help them grow and act as a liaison between the donors in typically North America and Western Europe, and then with our partners in Africa. So our mission is very simple. It's clear cut, but it's an honor to be here today. And I thank Enoch for kind of being the engine that put this all together originally.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was April 2008. I was serving at that time at Bel Air Church, and the church sent me to look for a partnership in Africa. And I arrived in Kenya. University was introduced to a young man that in 2008 was finishing his master's degree and was invited to continue to serve in that school and teach in Kenya. When we met over lunch, he said, "I'm not going to stay here." I said, "Why not?" And he said, "A couple of years ago, God gave me a vision to start a ministry to help to rebuild my nation, the Congo." That was James Byensi. And he looked at me and said, would you go there with me? And I thought, would we live somewhere close? Then we found out it took us a long time to get there. The city received him with a party. The church to celebrate his arrival back to the DRC. He went back to Kenya, and a few months later, he had moved back to the Congo with a vision to help to change the life of the Congolese people. Later on, he met Riziki, our friend, visionary. Her family had suffered the consequences of the different wars in the Congo, and they got married. James was her professor. In America, maybe that will be a problem, but not in the Congo. And they have three beautiful kids, Melissa, Vanessa, and godson. And they have served their people. They're leaders that could be leaders. They are leaders anywhere in the world where they go. Their capacity to see the reality and to get involved in the way that is transformational is a gift to the world and has been a gift to the people of the Congo. They have suffered some of the consequences of working for peace in a place where conflict is very profitable. James and Riziki are not home this week. The family had to evacuate it for some time. We don't know for how long it would be because of the violence in the Ituri Province, and more specifically in Bunia, where they serve and where they live. So James, is an honor for us, Bel Air Church and ThinSpace Africa, to serve along you and Riziki. You are a model of leaders, sacrificial leaders who are giving your lives to change the life of the people that you work and serve with. So welcome, and thank you for leading us in this important conversation. Help us to see the reality of our country and help us to find out with you, how can we join you in the work that you're doing. Thank you very much, my brother and my sister.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Enoch, and thank you so very much, Scott and Dr. Drew, for putting this together and also inviting us in this conversation. I'd like to welcome everyone who is on the Zoom call, but allow me first of all recognize someone I call my mentor. This is Senator Jean Bamanisa Saidi, who is on the call with us, who is one of the panelists. He is the former governor of the Ituri Province, and he has been a member of parliament for many years, and currently he's a senator in the Congo Senate. He accepted to be with us, and he's online. At a time, I think Enoch, you'll unmute him. I don't know, what is his name on, try to find him.
Yeah, yes.
We will, yes, and he will be speaking when the time comes. But also, I want to say hi to everyone, and I know some of you that I can recognize and others I may not. Jeff and Lisa and others. Joanne, thank you for being there. Because of the time, I'm introducing to you my wife, Riziki, and I want to go straight into opening up and trying to explain a little bit about the Congo conflict. And Senator Jean Bamanisa may come in and maybe elaborate a little bit on this. He will feel free to speak either in French, we may translate, or I know that he has also good English. He travels around the world. So, Senator, I think that your English is coming up strong and well. And Neema has not joined us yet, Honorable Neema. We are hoping that she will join us. Those are the three panelists who are with us tonight.
James, there is a strong rain, and she just texted me. She's trying to log in, but it's raining a lot in Kinshasa. She's trying to log in.
Okay, so those are the three panelists who will be with us. Let me try to explain the Congo. Congo is a country who is in the heart of Africa. We are in the center of Africa, and we are a huge, big country with over 100 million people. But this country has known more than its share of suffering, right from the Belgium colonial period. We don't want to get into that because most of you have read the story of King Leopold and all that. But the recent conflict of the Congo started, I may say, maybe 31 or 32 years ago. And this started mainly with the Rwandan genocide in 1994. That is when the plight of the Congo started, the one we are living today, because the Congo opened its border to welcome all the Rwandese refugees who came into Congo. And most of those people who were in the government then, and the soldiers then, they walked into Congo with all their weapons. And the millions of those refugees who came into Congo never went back. That was the beginning of the conflict in the Congo. And then it was followed by the Alliance of Democratic Forces, which was an opposition movement in Uganda, who also ran into Congo when they failed their coup and the battles in Uganda. They went and have been living in the mountains of the Congo, and now they have had an alliance with ISIS, this international terrorist group. And these people live in the mountains of Rwenzori mainly, that is in between Ituri and the North Kivu. Now, with the growth of the conflict in the Congo, there is also a third component into this, which is the birth of different rebel groups. Today, as we speak, we have over 150 militia groups, mainly in the eastern part of the country, and some of them now are progressing in the western part of the country. So when you see this component, that is the armed groups that we are talking about. Now, the second part of this conflict comes into an economical conflict, whereby the resources that we have in the Congo, the mineral resources we have in the Congo, have attracted so many people coming and wanting to access this. Let's talk about the gold. Let's talk about the cobalt. Let's talk about the coltan and any other rare minerals you may think about. We have all those in the eastern part of the country. So the multinationals who would want to access these minerals, unfortunately, we don't know why they can't talk directly to the government so that they might access the resources. But instead, in one way or the other, they, let's call it, complot with our neighbors, mainly Rwanda and Uganda, and they install their officers there. And it's from those places that they loot the resources in the Congo. All of you who are following the news today, you find that Rwanda is the #1 exporter of rare minerals. The same thing with Uganda, when they don't have a single mine in their country. So this has been fueling the conflict. And now recently, for this to happen and take place normally, they also play on tribal sensitivity. And in any conflict they want to go, they want to see, are there tribes which don't go along well? So they arm one group against the other one, and then they create that kind of conflict, and then the people run away, and then they exploit whatever they want to exploit in the region, loot whatever they want to loot in the region. And that is how the plight of this conflict has just been ongoing since 1996 with the fight against Mobutu and then the tribal conflict that have followed up all along, and then the birth of the M23 movement 10 years ago. So this is how the conflict has been just growing and growing and growing. So for the last 20 or 30 years, we have lost over 10 million people in the Congo. Unfortunately, the world does not talk about that. As we speak today, we have 13 million displaced people. That is almost 12 or 13% of the Congolese populations who are displaced around the world, and mainly in the eastern part of the countries, and that is in Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania. You find that the Congolese are there. So all this kind of conflict has really weakened the government. Though the government tries to respond to this, it is becoming a tough problem. And the youth who are jobless because of the conflict and maybe the lack of a good politics, all this creates a serious problem. And the lack of infrastructures, basic infrastructures like roads, like electricity and internet and all these kind of things create a lot of challenges in the country. So today, as we speak, we are facing a serious challenge. When I spoke about my mentor, Governor John Bamanisa, he is someone who's brilliant and with a heart of service and with a vision of development. When he was the governor of Ituri, he had a very clear vision for developing this area. But unfortunately, people playing on tribal sensitivity and not understanding what good governance is all about, they fought him and he had to leave. He had to leave the governorship and then retreated back to Kinshasa. But after he's going, the Ituri province has been undergoing the worst part of its life, because today we have 7 different militia groups in the Ituri, and they have been killing each other and killing the population in a way that no one can explain, despite the fact that now we have a military rule in the province. The same thing with the North Kivu, we have the military rule there, but yet we cannot understand what is happening. The killing is growing, and Goma just fell the last month in the rebels groups, and Bukavu and so forth. So the pressure is so high, the people are dying in a massive way. When we just mentioned like the Goma attack of M23 and the taking of the town, the news are giving us 8,000 people who were killed in town. But when you know official news talking about 8,000, that means maybe the double of that number. And we cannot mention the displacement of people. And in the Ituri, we have over 500,000 people living around Bunia, with 2.5 million displaced people in one province. This province is of 8 million people, but now 2.5 million are displaced. So that is the context of what we are going through today. Yet, unfortunately, the international news does not talk much about what is happening all around the world. So, sharing a little bit about this conflict, this is what I would say for now. Who is behind whatever is happening? We cannot say it bluntly that it's this one. We see the hands of Rwanda, we see the hands of Uganda, and Enoch, you mentioned that we are evacuated out of Bunia. That was just the day the Ugandan troops were entering Bunia, our town, and with the fear of what happened in Goma, and with the fear of a possible confrontation, maybe with our army, most of the people who could run away did run, and that is how we were evacuated, and we are still up to now outside of Bunia, trying to understand why has UPDF come into town? For how long are they going to stay? For what purpose? We know that they were trying to follow their rebels in the mountains, but how did they come like 90 kilometers into town and trying to take control of what is happening? We don't know. We also have another component. The United Nations troops are also in the Congo for over 20 years, but yet we don't also understand what are they doing exactly, because when the war is progressing, like in Goma, they were there. How could they stop the killings of the civil population and all those kind of challenges? That is in a short the situation that we are experiencing in the Congo. But the governor may add in some few ideas as well, and Honorable Neema, she's there, they may try to highlight a little bit more. But we cannot get into the depth of the whole talk because of the time. We have maybe a few other things. We may respond to them as we receive questions later on. That is what I would stop for. I'll stop by now.
James, would you help us to direct some of the questions to the governor about the context? I think the three major elements that we're looking for to understand, James, what is the conflict that you have been talking about? What are the consequences of that in the community and people? I think it would be great to hear from you as well, Riziki. What's the consequence for family, women, and children in the context that you're leading? And then the influence of the international community. And the last part would be, what are some organizations like yours and yourselves are doing to end the conflict and build peace? So maybe you can direct, James, the conversation with the governor so he can help us to understand the context a little bit better.
Yes. Son Excellence, si vous pouvez prendre parole, if you can try to explain a little bit more of what I just explained in a very broad manner. Yes, we give you platform, Excellence.
Thank you, Pastor James and Mama Riziki. Thanks, Enoch, and all the persons who are online. And thanks to be involved about this problem in Congo, which exists since a long time, but it's true that nobody who spoke a lot about this, and the one who are doing some things, they must be really accompanied to achieve what they are doing. So what I want also to say to Pastor James about this problem in the East, it's begin also in Uganda before 1996 when they had some problems there, with Idi Amin and the other one. I remember I was young, and there was a lot of military who entered. It was the same problem like today with Rwandese who entered in 1994 before the genocide. And at this time, it was Ugandese and a lot of farm and a lot of bandits who come here because we discovered. So after this, there was also, it's true, this genocide, and what we can say it's a general genocide, because it's not only Hutu who was killed, it was a lot of Tutsi and Hutu also. So today we are going to when I saw this how it was done by President Kagame, he sacrificed all this Tutsi and all this Amit and all this Nilotic when there was a genocide. And today is the same because now this group of rebels, they say that they come to try to save people of Banyamulenge, which is a group, ethnic group in the South Kivu. And it's true that today there is really a problem between the person, you know, the Bantu and the Nilotic, and we have to be careful because we can have another genocide again. Because what Rwanda is doing is really to enter in Congo. He want to change the border. This is really clear. We know that his army was in DRC, and now he want to put more and more army, and he's buying easily arm from USA, from other country. There is some sanction going on to him now to Rwandans, but it must be quickly because you know, Kagame was like a small solution in the East. They give him a lot of faith because it's a small country and people, USA, Europe, and some countries, they wanted to have, you know, this small country. They make a lot of lobby about this to grow this small country, so it will be the one who will export all the minerals from DRC. This was the agreement in 2004 to share the profits. But in the meantime, in DRC, there is no growing. And people just come to take. And, you know, when there is this mine, artisanal mine, it's in bush, there is not progress, there is harm. And people who get this mineral, they get it in low price, so they send it. There is planes and trucks and boats by the lake to Rwanda and export by Rwanda and also by Uganda. So there is, I can give you an example. In DRC, we export 100 kilo of gold. In the meantime, in Uganda, there is 30 tons of gold export by his refineries. And all this gold is coming from DRC without any paper, without untraceability and so on. So today we are in this big problem. It's true that there is one part of our responsibility also. It's to grow our administration because it's a little far. I was governor of all the Province Orientale, which is split since 2015 in four provinces because it was too big and too far from Kisangani, but more also from Kinshasa. It's 2,500 kilometers, which is in the situation of Congo difficult to manage. And now in all this region, it's a criminal economy which exists because there is no rule. Everybody put his rule. Everybody have sometimes some militia and arms, and this problem, like I say, it's come from Uganda, who bring a lot of harm. So people have harm in the house since a long time, and it's like an habit. So today, this big problem with population, like we say, okay, we administration, we must to grow it. We must to grow the infrastructure. And in my program, what we present in Washington and New York in 2019, when I traveled with the president, it was with the other governor, it was how to grow really with a special program like you did the Marshall program to grow this part of the country. If we don't grow our infrastructure, our roads, our electricity, water, education, wealth, will not get the same results and like the other countries, because Uganda, Kenya, and Rwanda and Tanzania, they grow. It's true that today they produce a lot of goods. They export to DRC, which is a big market because the population today, all the population of the East, it's about 45 million person. With all the East, Ituri, the two Kivu and the Maniema and Kisangani and the other one. So a big market where they just send goods without any custom in this criminal economy. So we have to stabilize it, to grow this infrastructure and to have the same rate of fiscality. We fight about this and we just get the reducing for the gold today, since January only. And this is our fault because we work a lot. I was also in the Chamber of Commerce. I was there and we tried to change it, but it takes too long time. So if we have the same rate, this is what we say to the other country. They can come to establish in DRC, because in DRC, when we was there, James, you see it, there is no Ugandan, there is no Rwandese. They are just in the border, buying or selling what they can do in DRC. Today, the big things, it's really to put pressure, and this is what I'm doing now. I'm in the Senate, how to establish this big program to bring it back, because we begin it in 2020, because before I left. And the World Bank, because begin to follow us, it was infrastructure and to grow the demand and the communities for them to access to the primary needs. So what we have to do today to resolve all of this, it will take time. But really, I want to thank James and Mama Riziki, what you are doing in Bunia, because really, when I was there, we have a lot of we share a lot of things, and I really appreciate. You remember that one time I was saying, hey, if you can come to in the government also, you can do the same. But what you are doing with what you have in your hand, it's really remarkable. And today, when you are in Bunia, it's true that people are resilient and they are living. They try to live. They build a house. It's true that there is how you say it, the trades is working, the mines, because some of them sell a lot of gold. So just Bunia, but in Bunia also, like you said, there is 100 person who live under tents and who needs to be helped every day. School, since a lot of time today in Bunia, there is more and more children who are in the street without any education. And this is really one of our big what we want really to bring it, to see how we can help this child to get education.
Yeah.
So the demand is there. It's to see what we can do with what we have on hand. And thank you for your helping Enoch and other person who are in church in this way from Kenya to Uganda to Congo in this part. It's really helping person. We are afraid what President Trump now said, that USAID will stop all the donation they did to a lot of organization. But Really, thanks if you can continue with the organization you have in contact in DRC. It will help a part of population, which is important. We can't do everything, but the small we can do, it's really appreciable.
Well, Honorable Mr. Bamanisa, first of all, we want to thank you for being a mentor for James and Mama Riziki. As you can see, it's working. You certainly have a lot of young leaders that you mentor, so we're very grateful for that. One of the things that we hear a lot in the United States and around the world is that the Congo is one of the richest countries in the world, and the richness that you have as a nation in the soil, in the forest. But we also hear that your richness is also your curse. Would
Yeah.
you explain to us a little bit who or which organizations profit from the conflict and instability in the DRC?
You say which is the organization who bring us this disturbing? Is it this?
Who profits? Who gains
Okay, the
from
profits. Yeah.
instability in Congo?
The profits, I think today the world program. It's like DRC must be, the big coffre-fort, what is means. It's a big box where there is everything's there. It's not time today to come to exploit it, but some of person, the small organization do it. And this is disturbing. Today, there is not big, really exploitation of our mineral. It's true that, for example, in the south, there is about 3 million tons of copper today export. We are going to 8 million tons in 5 years. We come from the period of Mobutu of 400,000 tons only a year exporting. And there you can see that there is interest of China, there is interest of Europe, there is interest of Canadian. USA was there with the Fungurume, Dodge companies, but they left. And this is this part which is organized and is more organized, but there is also a big problem there. I was there. I make some conference telling them attention because you are on the lands where people can do also the same because we have artisanal business. But all these person they are pushing out of the land. There is about 500,000 person who was also doing this digging by hand, copper, cobalt, and the other one. Tomorrow, there will be also big problem because all these companies, they take all the land and there is no place for the people. In the east, the same problem with tantalite, which we call coltan, and or gold. Diamond now is a little down, but all this gold was selling to Dubai. We make a lot of fights with traceability with all this organization, to put this way, this gold passing by this way in the black lists. We succeed a little, but today there is a big company from China who buy, from Dubai, and from there, it's true that there is some going to Europe, to USA. We have also a lot of coltan. Coltan today, it's the big companies who are in battery, in all these informatic materials like computer, telephone, and the other one. And we know that 40% is coming from North Kivu. So we make the a court deposit in France against Apple, for example, because we know that they are buying this coltan. If they pass by Rwanda, they grow Rwanda like a small, how you say it, a small special economic zone. a small fiscality periodis. This is Rwanda, and it was helped by all this big. At this time, our big problem was in USA, Herman Cohen, who make a lot of promotion of this. In Europe, it was Sarkozy. In France and in Belgium, it was Louis Michel. They are the one who put this system, and they make themselves, their company there in Rwanda to buy the minerals and to export it. And today, it's passing by Rwanda to the big company in the world.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Honorable Excellency, for sharing with us. I wanted to give maybe Riziki to respond to Enoch's question about the consequences. What are the consequences on the people? But even as we also ask Honorable Neema to get ready to take on that to build a little bit more on what Honorable Jean has just shared. But let's talk a little bit with Riziki about what are the consequences that we may share.
Yes, thank you. The consequence for this war is
Did you
Line was good.
Did you lose James and Riziki? Are you back, James? No?
Frozen.
Okay. Honorable Neema, are you with us?
Yes, I'm there. Good evening to everyone.
Wonderful. We don't see your screen, but we can hear you very well.
I don't know where I need to go. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Really?
I'm going to send you an invite for you to start sharing.
Yes. Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. You should be able to turn your camera on now. But we can hear you very well. It seems that we lost James and Riziki for a little bit, Honorable Neema. We are so glad that you are with us today. And Neema and her family lived for many years in California. She went back not long ago to the Congo. Was elected. She's a member of parliament, and she is also the secretary of the Parliament of the Congo today. So we're very glad that you are with us. Riziki, you are back. Maybe we can hear from you again, and then we're in the sequence after you. We're going to hear from Honorable Neema Grace.
Yes, thank you. I was saying that people are traumatized, and we are living with the fear every day. We are fearing about our children. They are growing in the situation of the war, and we are not stable. Yeah, that is the consequence for the war in Ituri Province or in Congo.
Yeah, and we can give a chance to Honorable Neema to build on that a little bit more with her expertise and also position as one of the key women leaders in the nation. So, Honorable Neema, we are glad that you are there. Can you build on that, the consequence of the war in Eastern Congo, in the entire Congo, you as a political leader and being a woman, you can build a little bit on that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm so sorry to joining it a little late, but I would like to thank everybody. Thanking Pastor James. Thank you, Pastor Enoch. Thank you for everyone who's here today, and especially the concern that we all share about this country, about DRC. I would like to add to what my sister Riziki just said. There's lots of consequences of this instability caused by the war. that has lasted for so many years. If I was to list, I think there's quite a number of them. But I'm speaking here from the political perspective. This war or this instability makes it so difficult for the Congo to move on. As we look at Congo as a country, on the political aspect, there's quite a number of things that needs to be done, for development, for this and that. There's quite a number of them. But the Congo, whoever it is at the head of this country, cannot do anything if this war is still going on. If this aspect of instability, this kind of instability is still persistent on the soil or in the country, it's impossible. I don't care how many warships they bring in, how many military we bring in. If we don't get a final solution to this, it's impossible for us to start even moving on, thinking about development, thinking about helping the people, thinking about changing lives. It's going to be impossible. Why am I saying so? Because the war gives kind of a platform, like a plate for whoever wants to pick in a little bit and do whatever he wants to do with at any time and however. So as long as that door, that window, that space is still on, there's nothing that can be done in the country. The president can try. Yes, the institutions can try, but as long as that side is open and that plate is still available for whoever wants to come in and do whatever they want to do, it's going to be practically impossible. Unfortunately, that's the case. Speaking even for the political leaders, that conflict has brought a lot of confusions. We do have political leaders who are determined, who have the will, who are willing to work to change things, change lives, to change Congo in general. But we do also have some who are in there as facilitators, if not part of the movement or the people, the mind behind the instability and the things that are being done as war and all that, exploiting kids, women, and of course, resources. So with this confusion, it's again making it difficult. But one thing I would like to mention is that I think, as far as I know, this is my second term in politics. From the moment that I came in, I see a big change in terms of determinations of whoever is leading this country. I see he has the heart to change things. He wants to. He has the will. But now it's just a matter of finding the real actors who can really join him in that determination, saying that, oh, enough is enough. We can change things around. And we have to change it by identifying the necessaries that have to be done. Some of them have to be sacrifices, but it has to be done if we really want to take a different direction. If we really want to take a different, like I said, direction for the betterment of the population and also for the improvement of lives and development of this country. So much that are heartbreaking as consequences of this war. Every single day we see them. We have testimonies. We have people coming here. And again, like I said, within the institutions, in the political realm, we have two types of people. They are Congolese, but they have not yet come to the realization that we are hurting this country. We are hurting the process. We are hurting everything. Maybe it's done purposefully because they want to make money, because they have an agenda. But the more we speak about it, the more we voice our opinions and stand against what's not right, I think that's also key. The more we gain more people on the good side, if I may use the word the good side, who are conscient, who want to really see things change and are playing a key role, of course, with some sacrifices. I think that's the main thing. Like we have our friends here, everybody here who get to get the real version. I followed my brother, Senator Bamanisa, all that. These are some of the truths that really need to be heard everywhere, because there's kind of sometimes there's confusion about what's really going on. People don't have the true side, the real story. So the truth has to be really said all over and over and over. People have to understand that this war is imposed upon the Congolese people is not fair. Regardless of the reasons that have been evoked for so many years, and now the truth is coming out, and I'm glad that some of the people are understanding that, we have been lied to for so many years in the names of genocide and so and so. But today, what Congolese are experiencing is more than genocide. And like Senator Bamanisa said, if nothing is done, it's going to be worse. So I think every year who hears this and who understands has got a role to play, has got something to do, and the more we join hands, the more we participate, I think that will be it will be a breakthrough. It will be a breakthrough for what is needed for this country to get moving, at least to get started with the process of development.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Neema, for your intervention. And I wanted just to take on a few questions that are in the chat before I proceed. Someone is mentioning that the Ugandan army was invited by the Congo government. That is true, that the Ugandan government has been in what they call a mutualization agreement with the Congo government. But if we are to be very honest, it is like two kind of plays. On one side, that is in the North Kivu, the Beni area, they seem to work together towards fighting what they call their ADF rebels. But when you see on the other part of what we'd call the North Kivu, on the other side where the M23 is functioning, the Ugandan troops are also supporting the M23. How do you explain that? So it's a kind of play which is not very clean. And when it comes to like their extension into the Ituri region, today last week they entered the Mahagi area. When you ask like the governor who's there and the political leaders who are there, it's like, we don't understand what is happening. So there is that kind of confusion which is going on. It's like they were invited in an area, but now they have extended the area for what they can only explain themselves. And there's someone else talking about the M23 are not only protecting the Banyamulenge, and they're also protecting the Tutsi in the North Kivu and the Hema in the Ituri, the people speaking Swahili. This is what is being said. But to be honest, I don't think that we need a militia or a rebel group to come and protect the population in a country which is stable with its army, with its police, and none of this population is under attack in one way or the other. If I can be open with you, I'm a Muhema myself. And being a Muhema in the Ituri, I don't see any problem which I'm facing directly, apart from the militia groups which are there, which are trying to kill each other and trying to harm the population. I don't think that we need a Rwandan army to come and protect us. We need to have a strong army and a strong police to protect the whole population. And the Congo has over 430 ethnicities. So if each ethnicity will be protected by someone who think that they relate to each other, that will become a problem. So those are the things which are being presented, but when you come on the ground, they're very different from the truth and what people are really living. Today, if you see what is happening in Goma and Bukavu, It's a horrible situation that the international news does not talk about. The M23 is going house to house, finding young people, killing them, and recruiting others by force, looting house by house. And one wonders, did they come to protect or did they come to extinguish the people? So those are the realities that we have on the ground. But after painting all this black picture that one would say after listening to this, one would ask, is there any hope? Is there any hope? I think both Senator Jean and Honorable Neema have mentioned that there is hope about building this nation, but the war must stop. The international community needs to come in like it's happening elsewhere. Why doesn't the international community speak openly about what is happening in the Congo? Would really want to see the US coming up with a very strong position. Would like to see Europe coming up with a very strong position about what is happening in the Congo. And at the same time, there are people who are battling. With your permission, let me talk a little bit about what Honorable Neema, for example, is doing in her electoral backyard. She's doing a lot through her foundation. She has built schools, churches there, and a radio station there, health centers, trying to invest all her life to give a future to the people of her village and the entire community where she comes from. When I say my mentor, Jean, he's almost in everything. He's in everything. He's in education, he's in health, he's in business, and trying to coach the entire nation. Even now, he's fighting towards how to rebuild Kinshasa through a major project that he has, Expo Beto. Every year, he does very high kind of conferences to bring the politician to see how can we deal with this nation and seeing how we can change it. And on our side, at the rebuilders, we are trying, as a senator said, we are trying with whatever we have, but also with your support to help the women, the young people with skills and rebuilding schools which are being destroyed by the rebels, churches which are being destroyed by the rebels, trying to come up with solutions to see how we can solve the problem one step at a time, one problem at a time. But what breaks our heart is you have tried to work in one region, but again, the war restarts and it breaks everything to the ground. So those are the kind of challenges we are facing, but at least there are good news which are happening and we are hoping for the best. Maybe at this point, I'll open it up for questions, and any person on the call can address a question to try to understand, either to Senator John or to Honorable Grace or to ourselves or to Enoch or Scott or Jeff. All these people have been in Bunia. They know what is happening. We may try to answer some of the questions you may have.
I would like to ask a question if I could, and that is actually a two-part question. One's more political, probably for Jean Bamanisa, and that is, I'm curious as to what political justification Rwanda offers to support the intrusion into the DRC. How do they justify that? What's their thinking behind that? The second question is, what would be the sequence of events that would need to occur for peace to return to the DRC? I understand you've got an enormous country. It's larger than Western Europe, and that you've got a lot of the mineral resources and the wealth in the east, which is far from your capital. So I understand there's some geographical things, excuse me, but those are two questions that I would have.
Okay, thank you, Scott. I saw this question, and yeah, the justification from Rwanda, it's to protect the Rwanda phone, which are the Nilotic, and they say also they want to protect also some guys like Hema in Ituri. But really, in 2000, no, in 1996, when there was the genocide, if you analyze what's happened, it's the Tutsi who was sacrificed to have a genocide, and after this, there was also genocide against the Hutu. And today they say that there is some, person who come from this group of FDLR, which is the army group coming from the Hutu. Hutu, it's a tribe who live in Rwanda and also in DRC, and there are more and more today. It's true that in North Kivu and South Kivu. And today, it's when they say that they are looking for them, they perhaps there is about 35 years. This guy, it's true that there is one of them who tried to make some small group and attack the Tutsi, but it's not really a cause, a reason for the army of Rwanda to come in DRC to follow 100 or 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 people, and we can't have a war for this. And this is what I said today. There is a bad relation between all the rest of the population against. Now it was against the Rwanda phone. We are really we are afraid if it's continue like this, because we can have also a genocide. And really, I say that President Kagame is pushing to have a genocide to justify his presence in DRC. But really, we know that it's to change the border, because he say that one part of some towns of some territory in DRC was how you said, in the land of kingdom in 1980, something like this. But we can't also forget that our border in Africa was done in 1885, and we agree on this. It's to see how people can live together. It's the tribes in this place, how they can live together, and to live also with the other person. Some person of them, one day they are Congolese, one day they are Rwandese, one day they are Ugandese, and they go, or one day they are Saudis also of one of these three countries. So it's bring a lot of things, because the target, we see that the target is really to change the border, to have more big land, but really, like I said, when you see the population, it will bring problem, and people will be killed. There will be a lot of problem. This is not the solution. The solution is to see how people can stay in the diversity together and grow the place they are with the same rule, but to respect the border of the country. Changing border will not be. I want also to say hello to Honorable Neema. Happy to see you, Neema, and thanks for. So you say. So the second question, it's what can be the sequence to bring the peace? Yeah, it must take time. It's to build. Firstly, it's to respect, or each country must be respect. Uganda, it's Uganda and with his government. Rwanda the same. The Tanzania the same, and Kenya. Each one must be concentrate on his country, and to see how we can share things, but not fight. To have, it's true, why there is this difference today. It's our fiscality. This is what we say a lot of time. to have the same fiscality. So people, someone who want to go to Rwanda to make business, he can go. If you want to go to Uganda or to Congo, it's free. There is no problem. Everybody can go where, but when they come in DRC, the problem, like they live near the border, they put, some rules just in the benefits of their country, not the DRC. And this is what we have to resolve. It will take this time of this dialogue also between the people, and the people need, because the guy of East, they are strong guys. They work really. They want to live normally. The stage today we have in Uganda, in Rwanda, in Kenya. This is what people some of people from the East, when they go there, for hospital, for school, we need it in DRC also. And we have to concentrate, and this is also our things we have to do. And this is what, when I was a governor, this is what we wanted to bring. But in the meantime, it's to have a strong army in our side, and to have a strong province, because our province is like you have a federation in some countries. Our army, it's true that they are too far from Kinshasa where the decision is coming. We must build them with big camps, with really capacities to protect, because like I say, we are a big box with a lot of mineral. It will help us for the next 100 years. There will be enough in 1,000 years of mineral in DRC. And the time, I think that unless the big nation thought that it's not time to come to DRC really to invest, but we can't leave this place to the small struggle economy and minerals exploitation. We have really to see how to bring big company now in DRC, unless it was like a to protect for the next generation. So this sequence take also in place the education and the wealth of people, because today when you see people without any wealth giving to them, they create I would say it in English, degradation of people, because they don't have the medication, they don't have education. So it's bringing our people, like people who are under the capacity in this region. And so we have to protect these people. Today, what I said last time in South Africa, if today we have 1 million persons died again in the east of DRC, it should be a responsibility for all the humanity. We have to be everywhere. We have to say that, hey, stop what you did during the years by the neighbors, and what we have to do ourselves, because we have also some responsibility. But first, we have to stop these guys who make all their business in the DRC.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Governor and Senator. James, a lot of us that are here today are people who know you and Riziki, and you introduced us to the leaders of your country. As Scott mentioned before, probably the major thing that the way that we try to work at Bel Air Church and ThinSpace Africa is the idea that people like us don't have the solutions for the problem of Congo, but people like you do, and leaders like Neema, the governor, yourselves. So, but there is this macro thing that we hear today, but there is also the micro thing that happens in the day-to-day. Would you update us, Riziki and James, about what's the work of Rebuilders Ministry today, and what you guys are doing in your experience in one corner of your great nation that you are doing to impact lives and bring peace?
Thank you so much, Enoch. Before I highlight what we do, I want to share with everyone on the call three things. The first one is that Africa, uh, or Africans, we are one people. Though we were separated with borders and all this, when it comes to this issue of conflict, it's very complex. And everyone may share what they want to share, sometimes without being very objective in whatever is being shared. Today, like when you hear people talk about our brothers Banyamulenge target, or when you hear people talking about genocide, they think that it's only the Tutsis who were killed. But the truth is that many Hutus were killed, many Tutsis were killed, and many Hutus are still being killed, even in the Congo today, being followed in the names of FDLR, being a rebel group which is from Rwanda, finding itself in the Congo. So the question is very complex. And when someone talks about like the presence of M23 in Goma, people will share whatever they can share. But the truth is that we are on the ground, we are following up, we have families there, people who cannot go out. And so we have the first-hand kind of information about what is happening. But the truth is we are working towards the betterment of humanity. And the tribal sensitivity sometimes is just playing for nothing or for no reason, because no responsible country can attack one group. So the lives of every Congolese are mattering, and that is why we want everyone who gets and receives any information, they should check it and follow closely to see what is happening on the ground, so that we are not misleading other people or we are not misled ourselves. So many efforts are being done in different regions, but as for the rebuilders, we are in the Ituri province. And the work we are doing there, we have 7 areas of outreach that we do in our ministry. The number one is evangelism and discipleship. We preach the good news and encourage other people to preach the good news, because we know that without Christ, we are lost forever. So that is the number one thing we do. The number two thing we do is peace building. We have a mission, actually, a command from Christ to be ambassadors of peace. That is Second Corinthians chapter 5, verse 18 to 20. That is the work we do in all different kind of circles. Actually, tomorrow, our women will be hosting over 100 women from the community, market women. They'll be talking about entrepreneurship with peace in the Ituri. That is going to happen tomorrow as we celebrate the Women's Day. So we do conferences with women, with children, with youth, with government leaders, with community leaders. As you may have known, we just hosted community leaders peace talks at our offices just Monday and Tuesday of this week. So those are the kind of things we do. And number three is compassion work. With the thousands and millions of displaced people, we try to do medical assistance, food assistance, and scholarship assistance for different kind of people. And number four thing we do is food, the promotion of agriculture. We have a farm, and our farm now has become a center for training for all the universities and high schools. People come and learn from us agricultural skills, and we train the community around us to produce food with dignity. And the number five thing we do is actually rebuilding destroyed infrastructures. So many churches and schools and homes are being destroyed. We try to rebuild where we can, and we try to help. And number six is vocational training. We train young people and women in catering, tailoring, hair and beauty. We train young people in driving. We have a driving school and car repair workshop. We train in positive communication, a radio station, and all this. And the other thing we have is a radio station, actually. In the midst of all these, the media is also contributing mainly in destroying the tissue of life and oneness. So those are the things we do in a nutshell. So I've seen someone asking, how can you help? I may say, frankly, three things you can do. Number one is praying for the peace of Congo. Number two is raising awareness with your friends and neighbors and colleagues. And number three, you can contribute where you can, as you will and as you wish and as you are blessed. So those are the things that we may encourage people. I've seen a testimony of someone there saying he has been in the diaspora and the parents have been telling them to help back. And this is what they're doing. We really salute that. Wherever you are connected, be it in the South Kivu, in the North Kivu, in Kindu, in Ituri, in Kisangani, anyone you may have contact with, you may help in that way. And touching one life is already a big thing. And that is very critical. I want to pass it on to Honorable Grace, who has something to say. I've seen her hand.
Perfect.
Neema?
Yeah, thank you, Pastor Byensi. I would like just to, I've been seeing quite a few questions or concerns about the Banyamulenge and the Tutsi, which you have also clarified in your explanations. I am in the government. I'm in the second institution of the country, which is, I think Senator Bamanisa will agree with me, which is the Congress. We do have colleagues, actually quite a number of colleagues who are Banyamulenge and Tutsi. In the Congolese government, we do have Banyamulenge members of government. But till this day, we still don't understand the message that keeps on coming back. The Banyamulenge, the Tutsis are being persecuted in the Congo. That's a lie. Because I have colleagues, Banyamulenge, I have colleagues, Tutsis. Every single day we have them here, they're not persecuted. But that's what has been used from the get-go up to this day to keep on a certain agenda in order to maintain the war in the eastern part of Congo. I'm speaking from what I see and what I live here every single day, and that's important for us to say it. Like I said earlier, it's important for people to know. We do have Banyamulenge in the Congolese government. They are our brothers, and if they want even me to give names, they are there working, serving this country. We do have Banyamulenge and Tutsis in the parliament. They're serving this country and they're protected. So this story about being persecuted, they're being killed here every single day, I don't know. But the truth has to be known and it has to be said. Whether others like it or not, but that's the truth. We live with them here and they're not persecuted. That's what is being used in order to maintain the war in the eastern part of. I just wanted to bring that point out because it's what's being spread all over and for all these years up to today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Can I put a word?
Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, I want to say again a little more about what Honorable Neema said, and to this person who asked this question. If tomorrow we have a small community in the north of Equator, for example, who live also in Republic of Central Africa, who take arms and say that we make a militia to protect our tribes, our people, and they work more with Republic of South Africa. It will be a person who are attacking the country, and this is the story will prove it. The future will prove it in our story that it's the program of Kagame who is putting the Banyamulenge, Congolese Banyamulenge, like victims to give him a reason to intervene military in DRC. The Banyamulenge was living everywhere in Kisangani, in Bunia, everywhere since years and years and years. why Rwanda is taking them like his people and giving them harm. It's like in the war. If today this militia to our and the other militia who exist in the area of Banyamulenge really said, we are Congolese, and they have to do it, unless they are putting the population in a really bad condition, it's a sacrifice them. And yeah, because I see that there is, it's like I am from Muema also. My mother was a Hema. If my people in Ituri tomorrow say that, okay, we take harm against the state, there will be person will be persecuted. And our people in Banyamulenge, they have to stop to say, okay, we are Congolese, we work for the army of Congo, not Rwanda. Yeah. I think I finish. I think this person who asked this understands.
Thank you. Yeah, as we bring this talk towards the close, we really want to thank you all for taking part in this. This was just like an eye-opening, an awareness-raising meeting, whereby we want all of you to understand that the Congolese people are suffering. And this is for the last 32 years. And millions of them have died. And the international community does not know much about what is happening, and not much is being said. We thank those who worked in the past in doing the Blood Diamond movie, which somehow raised a little bit of awareness. I think now we need to talk a little bit more about that. We need to talk now about coltan. We need to talk about the cobalt. We need to talk about the gold and the killings which is still going on, and the children who are still dying. So the entire Eastern Congo is suffering, from the Kindus coming to Minembwe, coming to Bukavu, to Uvira, to Goma, Lubero, Butembo, Beni, Bunia, Kisangani. All this is an area of massacre. And many other people are dying in the interior of the Congo because accessing there is becoming a problem. Even food is becoming a problem. Fuel is becoming a problem. So if we shared this, we wanted you, as I say, to do three things. Those of you who can pray about Congo. Those of you, all of you should raise awareness about what is happening in the Congo. Though not much is being said in the news, you can share it in the platform you have. But number three, we need advocacy with your government. We know that God has placed the US today in a situation of power in the world. So raise awareness with your members of parliament, with your senators, with your governors, even to the president, that something may be done in the Congo. And anyone who'd like to help, as I said initially, in whichever area you are connected, please help. With food, with money, with medication, with any equipment. You can do that where you are connected. But more and so, if you can come and visit, brave the fear to come and see firsthand what is happening. You can start in Kinshasa, then you fly in the east, or you can start in Nairobi or Entebbe. You come and see it for yourself. You can tell the story far much better. But as for those of us who are on the ground, we are braving the fear. We are facing all the challenges, trying to do what we can with the little that we have and with the little we receive from those of you who are well-wishing. We pray that God may bless you. If there is anything I would finish up with is Acts of Apostles chapter 13, verse 36. In this scripture, the Bible has said that David, after fulfilling God's purpose in his generation, he rested. So this means that every one of us has God's vision and purpose, or the reason why you were born and you are still alive. And you have to fulfill that vision in your generation. And this is the generation. Some are in politics, some are in the academic, others are in church, others are in business. Wherever God has placed you, make sure that you make this world a little bit better place through what you're doing. And after that, you can go and you would have accomplished your purpose. So this is what we are called to do. And ThinSpace, thank you. Bel Air Church, thank you. Honorable Neema, thank you. Honorable Jean, thank you. And Jeff and every other person who has been on the call, Kim Do and others. We appreciate what you're doing. We know that in this way we are impacting the world, and together we can not allow the force of evil to prevail, but we can promote the good through the small actions that we are doing. And in this way, God will surely bless and keep every one of us. So these are the few words I wanted to close with. Enoch, maybe if you have something else you want to say, you can bring this to a close.
We're going to hear briefly first, before I conclude, James, from Jeff and then from Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Enoch. My name's Jeff Kaminsky. I'm an elder at Bel Air Church. I had the great honor, and which had an incredible impact on my life, of visiting Bunia last April, observing both the challenges of the country and of the region, as well as all the wonderful things done by the Ministry of Rebuilders. And it was truly a life-changing event. I'd just like to start by thanking, just word of thanks for everyone that's been on the call, for everyone that's participated, particularly ThinSpace Africa, Enoch, Scott, Lisa, your entire board, all the friends and supporters of ThinSpace. Thank you for participating today. I'd like to thank all the participants from Bel Air Church. I really appreciate the interest shown by the church and the support for this ministry that we've seen, and the interest in the Congo, frankly, which I think is lacking in this country. A huge thank you to Pastor James and Riziki for making yourselves available. I know all the personal challenges you've been through in recent days and recent weeks, and I know it was a tremendous sacrifice for you to focus on folks outside of yourselves and outside of your families today. And thank you so much for being here. And a big thanks as well to both Senator Bamanisa and the Honorable Neema Grace for participating. This is impactful and important for us to hear from people directly out of the DRC. For everyone participating there from the DRC, please know there are Americans that care deeply about what's happening in your country. I know oftentimes you feel alone and you don't feel that there's support from other parts of the world. And it's certainly not as much as it should be, but there are certainly people supporting it. There are people that love the country, love the people there, pray for you every day, think about you every day. And we will continue to support that. We'll continue to support the efforts towards peace and reconciliation in the DRC, as well as the ministries of humanitarian aid and support at the individual level, which is being done so effectively through the various programs of Rebuilders Ministries in Bunia. And just want all you to know, we'll continue to provide emotional, financial, spiritual support for everyone there. And to Pastor James' words, and I know very dear to his heart and dear to all of our hearts, is raising awareness in this country. The more we know about it, the more we can talk to friends and colleagues, the more we can appeal to our government for help and support over there. I think the better the DRC will be in the long run. So just know we'll be continually praying for you. We'll be continually praying for peace and reconciliation. We'll continue to pray to our Lord to provide comfort, peace, safety, and relief from the hardships that are being experienced and the suffering that's being experienced in both Bunia and the whole country. And know that we love the people of the DRC and of Bunia, and we're here to support you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jeff. It's a pleasure to work with you. You know that. And to have someone, I told you when I first met you, to have someone who's got the same heart that I feel inside for the people of the Congo and the people I know that live there that I've come to know and love over the years. Jean Bamanisa, it's a pleasure to see your face. James speaks very highly of you when I've been there on a number of occasions. And Honorable Neema, it's good to see your face. I've traveled with her to Bunia many, many years ago, but it's nice to see your face again. That's always a pleasure to see. I'm a business guy, a retired business guy. And as a result, I'm, my first question on meetings like this is, what's the next step? What kind of falls out the bottom? And Enoch asked me the question that we like to ask ourselves, and I'm going to share it up here on the screen, and that is, what can one person do? And I want to offer some very, very simple suggestions at different levels of your involvement, whatever you care to do. The first thing you do, if you want to donate to Rebuilder Ministry Emergency Fund, you can do that. You can do that on our page. The second thing would be political advocacy, as James had mentioned just a little bit earlier. And the third would be come and visit Africa with us. And let me talk about each one of those very, very briefly. The first thing, if you want to donate to Emergency Fund, there is the link that's on our page. The money goes directly to the Emergency Fund for Rebuilders Ministry. You'll want to select Rebuilders Ministry on the page, select Emergency Fund or Emergency Test, either one that's there. And all of those monies will go to an emergency fund for James and Riziki when they had to get airlifted out of Bunia in an hour's notice. All that stuff costs money, and it's stuff that we like to support, and we want to have an emergency fund for them when life-threatening situations occur. So I would offer you that, and it's on our page. It's been up for a while. The second thing is political advocacy. For those of us who live in the United States, there's a couple links if you want to find out who your members of Congress are in the House of Representatives or the Senate. It's very, very easy to do. The links are right there. And if you're wondering, what if I've got the name? My local congressman happens to be Brad Sherman. What can I do to contact Brad Sherman? If you go, if I can be so, so brash here, but ask GPT. And I just asked a question today. I said, as an American, what can I do politically to address the increase in violence in the DRC? And ask for scripts. And what it responded to was beautiful. It told me about social media links that I could use. It gave me the actual verbiage for a letter that I could write. It gave me information about if I wanted to call, exactly what to say on the phone to voice my support. And plan about 30 minutes. So takes a little bit longer than just making a donation. But when James says, to act as an advocate against the violence in the DRC, there's a great way of doing it, and it's just not that hard. And ask GPT to help you with that. The third thing is come with us and visit. We go to Africa multiple times every year, and we have a vision trip this year coming up July 10th to the 22nd, and it's geared for first-time visitors, for people that have never been before. We'll go to Uganda, and if safety prevails, we'll go to Bunia as well. And we'll put together both a chance for you to come and learn, be involved in some community service, and we tag a safari on it so you can see some of the beautiful, beautiful wildlife that Africa has to offer. It's the only place in the world. If you're interested in coming or you just want more information, just send me information on it. Email us at info@thinspaceafrica.org, and we'll put you on the list. And we'll get that to you. We'll get that to you as soon as we can. So I'm going to stop. But those are the three things you can do. You can donate, you can advocate, and you can come with us and visit. And I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you on that trip. Enoch, let me pass it back to you.
Very good. We had more than 70 people log in today for this conversation. And it seems that as we hear about the drama and the pain and the conflict that you all, leaders in the DRC, are facing, that we want to say, I think a little bit what you said, Jeff, that you are not alone in this journey. There are people like us, thousands, that are concerned about what is going on in the DRC every day. We pray for peace, we hope for peace, we give for peace, we give not only our resources, but of our lives and our time, hoping with you for peace. I have traveled and served in more than 100 different countries. I have never, ever in any nation that have people that are resilient as the Congolese people are. I don't think I have seen ever a community and a people that are so much in love for their nation as the Congolese people are. This idea that we are one people in the Congo, we are one Congolese people, it's almost one person, even in the midst of the conflict. And then when we go to bed at night, we dream with you that one day will be peace. And that the work that we do now, as hard as it is, that one day we will harvest the fruits of the work that you do. I'm going to share with you this picture. It's on my screen. Some of you, it's the sunrise in the city of Bunia that a friend of mine posted just a few days ago. He waking up in the morning in the conflicts and hearing of the 70 people were killed last week. And he woke up thinking, would there be a place of peace? And then he wrote, yes, that's not only my heart that is saying that. I hear that this God is telling me that peace will come. And then he's speaking to my heart. There will be restoration and hope in the Congo. There is this stubborn hopefulness that's in the heart of the people of Congo. And as you speak with us today, Riziki, James, Honorable Neema, and Jean, Honorable Jean, you give us a little bit of the light into the window of what you hope for. You're not alone in this process. We'll continue to work with you. Thank you. Thank you, Bel Air Church, for taking the lead in building this relationship, and Scott and ThinSpace Africa as well. What a privilege it is. Big conversations today in such a complex environment, but we are working for this together, and that's not easy and should not be easy because it's a very complex subject. So very grateful for everybody that is here with us. I have asked James if he could stay for a few minutes, that we can continue the conversation, hear a little bit about him, a little bit more. He can. And for those who need to leave, we completely understand. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And in about 2 or 3 hours, the conversation that we had today will be on ThinSpace Africa YouTube channel. So if you want to download, share with others, you are welcome to do so. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. Amen. Thank you.
Lisa, are you there? This is not there yet.
So,
While you're doing that, can I ask a question of
Yes, go
James
ahead, Scott.
Riziki,
Yes.
if I could?
Yes, it's all yours.
And that is, I happen to have a good familiarity, James, with a lot of the efforts that you make in acting as the role of a moderator, essentially between the different parties that are in conflict in the Ituri province. And my question is, can this be talked out? I mean, just in the questions that we've had come up here, people are very entrenched in what they've always held to be true, what they've been told or what they've witnessed. And part of my understanding, being a Christian, part of my understanding of the message of Jesus and the message of Christianity is the importance and the primacy of forgiveness. And being able to say, yes, wrongs have been done. And at the same time, I want to start fresh. And to be apologetic for whatever I've done that's contributed to the morass and the problems. But that I want to forgive, and I want to take steps, not for retribution or not for getting back or getting even, but I want to make steps to internally be able to set that aside as best as I could by the grace of God, and be able to move forward to reconcile. Can that be done? And what's the process for that? I mean, help me understand.
Yeah. Actually, that is the effort that everyone is working about. Honorable Neema is still there. This is someone, if she can share with you the experience that she has and the challenges she faces in the parliament for being a Christian woman, but also someone who really wants to bring the people together, you will hear her story. It is the same thing that we are facing. Honorable Jean is also still there. When the conflict started, like in Ituri in 2018, his message was so clear that everyone should pull out of his tribal belonging, and people should work hand in hand, peace and reconciliation.
I think we lost James, Enoch.
So, yes.
Neema, do you want to weigh in on the answer to that while we're waiting for James to re-engage?
Sure. Trying to connect my here. Can you hear me?
I
Volume.
think that his line is bad. He don't receive also message by WhatsApp.
Yeah. Or Senator Bamanisa, would you like to weigh in?
Sorry, I didn't really listen what was the question or you asked.
The question was that, I know that interpersonally for myself, if I have things that I deeply believe that I've been wronged in, that other people have done to me that have been wrong, that a key to my recovery as a human being is to be able to acknowledge what happened, forgive it, meaning you don't owe me anything, essentially. You don't owe me anything, and I don't have to get even. And to move forward in the direction of peace and being able to reconcile. And it's one of the central messages of Christianity. And it's not that everybody has to become a Christian, but the truth of that is still there. And that is that forgiveness is fundamental to a peace process. Is that possible in the Congo?
Yeah, it's possible. Sometime when I'm here in Kinshasa or other place, I just see the difference when I was in Ituri. Before each meeting, we pray. We pray with people. We share what is the problem. There is a lot of things in Ituri, for example, was going on. And people, like I said, they are resilient and they know how to do things together. They can make easily a cooperative, bank cooperative, mutuality for building a church, building a school, making a road, something like this. This is in the people there. The main things it's to have also dialogue in the other country. For example, in Uganda, the problem with Uganda it's the ADF who was pushing in 1973. I was living in Beni at this time, Mama Riziki, in this place you know well. And I remember we was young and we saw all this person like Pastor James say coming in the Rwenzori land, and after this they infect all the administration, justice, policy, custom. Why? Because they import without any custom and they buy with the money they get gold, coffee, tea, cocoa, export of any rules, any payments, and it went to Uganda or Rwanda or Burundi and export legally now. And this is what it bring a problem without any rules in the East. And like I said, the solution is infrastructure and to have the same fiscality. People, they don't like to fight every time between them, unless in South Kivu, all these people, there is the Tutsi, there is the Hutu, there is all the other tribes who are in Kivu, the same in Ituri. Ituri, there is 21 communities. It's true that there was some of them, the last, since 2017, there was a lot of problem between a group, but it was also spirituality in this community we call Kodeko in the Lendu community, who was attacking mostly the Emma community and the Alur community. And Pastor James know how we work. One things we didn't succeed when I was there, it was to change their spirituality. But we agree with them. They have about 12 sacrificators. They follow the Bible, but they change what they read in the Bible. So it's a problem also on the mind, on the religion, how to put them in a good way, spirituality, and to change them. It's things are going bad, worst everywhere in the world. It's not only in DRC. Sometimes we saw it in Yugoslavia. There is about 20 years. Today we saw what's happened with Ukraine and URSS. We know that when we pray, when we read the Bible, we know that things will be more and more difficult. And sometimes I say that it's the changement of the axis of the orbit. It's a change also the nature. It's change also the ADN of people. So they are more aggressive. There is something like this in the world. And but like we say, in religion, we have to see in our environment how to protect people, how to show them the principle, and how to really bring it also in political, in the person who rules the country, and everywhere. It's a big job. It's a big job. There is not a magic solution. It's a war we have to do every time, every day.